between these two quarterbacks. If you look down at Dan Marino, you see, in essence, the style and the class you'd like young quarterbacks to emulate. Over the shoulder, quick release. Kosar, on the other hand, he can do it any number of ways. That sidearm release, he'll throw it underhand. But the one thing you know about both of these quarterbacks, they get the job done.
And that, well, is, that's the bottom line when you talk about any athlete, and particularly when you talk about a quarterback in the National Football League. This is Joe Robbie Stadium. The Dolphins will be receiving, and that means that Mark Logan, who returned a kickoff for 97 yards last week, is back. And that's Ron Davenport, who is back with him. And kicking off will be number 9, Matt Barr. And this one will go through the end zone and will bring it out to the 20-yard line. All right, let's look at Miami. Their offense, here's an offensive line that is now more solidified than it's been all year. Their backs and receivers, well, they're hoping that number 33, Sammy Smith, can establish their running attack. But when they have to go to the shotgun, both running backs and the tight end will come out. Jim Jensen comes into the backfield. Troy Stratford goes to the slot, and Fred Banks becomes the third wide receiver. Miami from the 20. And here is Sammy Smith. As expected, they do want to establish that running game. Felix Wright makes the tackle. Cleveland's defense, well, their front seven, it is still learning Bud Carson's scheme. Now, they will not go to 8 defensive backs like Houston did against Miami, but they will go to 7, so all 3 linebackers will come out. Mark Harper, Tony Blaylock, and Stephen Braggs will join a secondary that still features 2 of the top cornerbacks in the league. Second down. And again, Miami staying on the ground. It's going to be third and about 1.5 yards. Mike Johnson, the middle linebacker in the 4-3 scheme for Cleveland, makes the stop.
One of the most telling comments made by Don Shula after that game against the Houston Oilers, he said, when a team can ignore your running game and rush 3 people and drop 8 back, you are in trouble. And Sammy Smith, who's had ankle trouble, as you mentioned, Charlie, said that ankle is the best it's been since he hurt it. He thinks he's going to be able to be effective today. And right off the bat, Don Shula is saying we are going to establish a physical presence on the field. We're going to establish our running game.
Third down, about 1.5 yards.
Marino upset. He's going to call timeout. Andre Brown, the young rookie wide receiver, apparently made a mistake. Either went the wrong way or misread the timing. And rather than be called for delay of game, Marino holds up the timeout.
We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, what's going on here? Well, a good choice by Marino, but you've wasted now a timeout.
Third down and 1 yard. Opening drive of the ball game. Still on the ground. First down. Got 2 yards, and it'll be a first down. Sammy Smith again. Thane Gash, the free safety, with the tackle.
The question people are asking about Sammy Smith is, can he be injury prone, or can he hold himself together? If he can be healthy and stay healthy, he can be a real force, a positive force for this Miami team. They haven't had that kind of back for years and years and years.
Meanwhile, we have an injury timeout. That's Thane Gash that is going out, and Kyle Kramer has come in for him at free safety for Cleveland.
This Cleveland secondary, one of the deepest in football, but even a deep secondary can't afford to lose those first line players.
Marino now directing traffic. You can see they're not used to establishing a running game. He's got to sit everybody where he wants, and now he comes back with play action, and that does freeze the linebackers, and this is exactly what a running attack will do for you. It opens up a 13-yard gain by Sammy Smith. Felix Wright makes the tackle, but they have to honor the running game.
From the end zone, you watch Felix Wright, or you watch number 33, Sammy Smith. He just steps up, loops down, stops, nobody home. able to pull him in with a little play action, as you mentioned, Charlie, and a missed tackle there. And that's one thing that Sammy Smith can do. He can run through arm tackles.
And a first down at the 45-yard line. He told us yesterday his ankle's about 85%. So the pressures from the outside, that's not bothering him. Said his job is just to do the best that he can. And this time he was taken out of bounds at the 42-yard line. He'll lose 3. Meanwhile, Thane Gash comes back in as Clay Matthews makes the tackle.
Inside, we're going to have a chance to watch Carl Hairston, Big Daddy Hairston, watch him in that cock position, step through, and then quickly pursue to the outside, showing some great moves. Some of those 22-year-old moves on a body that's much older, but great inside-out pursuit. Also some great pursuit by Bubba Baker. Tackle by Clay Matthews. He's got to be one of the most underrated linebackers, one of the most underrated players in the NFL.
He is. Hairston, by the way, that's a 36-year-old body with a lot of mileage on it, too. First down at the 43-yard line. 15 yards. Farrell Edmonds, the tight end, and Don Shula said we have to get him back into the offense.
In the last 2 weeks, Miami receivers have dropped a total of 14 passes. They spent this week working on concentration. You look at that concentration all the way to the ground, but where were the Browns secondary? No one home on that play.
How many drop passes?
Well, you can get a 16 count or a 14 count. I think the 16 count was a press count. The 14 count, the coach's count. But in 2 weeks, that's an awful lot of drop passes.
Play action fake. There's pressure from the backside. He gets it off, and it is incomplete. Reno going to Edmonds again, had to rush the throw as he had pressure from the backside. Thane Gash had the coverage downfield, and it was David Grayson who was putting the pressure on Marino. Marino, of course, as you know, has not been sacked for, what is it now, 16 games?
16 games in a row, Charlie. He comes close here. Right-hand side of your picture, 56 right there. And Marino just firing that ball out of there. Very often, he just simply refuses to be sacked. And when you say he hasn't been sacked in 16 games, that's as much Marino's stat, in fact, more so than the stat for the offensive line.
And there it is. The number is 665 now with the attempts here. 665 attempts he has not been sacked. Stratford makes a good move, has the first down. Gain of 12. Harper and Matthews on the tackle.
Jim Jensen, number 11, coming in, is going to throw a good block here. But it was Michael Dean Perry who missed the tackle. Troy Stratford just put a great move on him on the outside and burst downfield. Stratford extremely quick, good outside runner. And this is a solid drive that the Dolphins have going here.
This is the 9th play of the drive that started back at their own 20, now at the Cleveland 31-yard line. Opening drive of the game, we have no score. Smith jumping to the outside when the point of attack closed down on him, and he goes to the 28-yard line, has 3. It's 2nd and 7, and let's check the other scores around the National Football League. Well, nothing is happening. Houston, of course, they're favored by some sources, including Bobby Beathard, to go 0 for season. 2nd down and 7. Clayton in motion, and here's Stratford. He has to jump to the outside, and he goes to the 26. He has a couple. It's 3rd down and 5. Hanford Dixon moves up from corner to make the tackle, and now we'll look for Marino to throw.
Most effective. We'll talk about that. I think it's the fit, the way that people fit with this defense that make it work so well for the Browns.
And the Browns also feel that the defense you see now and 5 weeks from now going to be entirely different. They're going to improve that much. Over the middle, incomplete. Jensen, the intended receiver, that was David Grayson, who was going over his shoulder. The crowd wanted a flag. They did not deserve to get one on that.
Jim
and it'll be
Jensen
4th and
wanted
5.
a flag too, Charlie. But Grayson is one of those linebackers that can run with the very quick running back. With a tight end, he's an excellent man-to-man coverage linebacker.
44-yard field goal attempt now for Stoyanovich. His longest this year. He's hit 4 out of 5. His longest is 31. They're going to root it officially 43 yards. the crowd tells the story. Yards away. A little to the left, but it still counts. 3-0 Miami. Here's Eric Metcalf. Now notice the time. 6:25. The Dolphins had the ball 6:25 on the opening drive last Sunday against Houston. In the entire game, they only had it 16 minutes. Oliphant takes it at the 10. One of the upbacks. He's to the 20, the 30-yard line. Cuts to the outside. And has a return to the 38-yard line. 28 yards on the return as Stojanovic, the kicker, made the tackle. Cleveland's offense playing with a crippled makeshift offensive line that just continues to get the job done. Backs and receivers. Bernie Kosar, the quarterback, he's learned to love the shotgun, and when he goes to it, Eric Metcalf and Ozzie Newsome will come out. Ryan Brennan and the Cube, Gerald McNeil, come in. First opportunity in offense for Cleveland. First points that have been scored on the Browns in the first quarter this year. 3-0 they trail. Kosar, pump fake, right side, then he goes back to Metcalf and he overthrows it. Maybe running out of time, may just want to throw it away. That'll be second down. Miami's defense, the front seven feature 4 starting linebackers with a total of 38 years experience. But when they go to the dime, all 4 linebackers will come out. Eric Kumaro becomes the 4th down lineman. Lifford Hobley, Rodney Thomas, and Don McNeil all join a secondary that still hasn't come together, and it was shredded last week by Houston. Second and 10. And here's Metcalf. Maybe the quickest speed of the National Football League.
Extremely quick and running in, as you said, behind a line that has really been damaged. Number 63, Cody Rison, is one of those damaged linemen. He's got a left knee that pops every time he steps on it. He's being very tender with it there. And I tell you that when you are playing on a knee that is that bad, you've got to have something going on in your head that says, are you sure you should be here? Look at the knee operations, the ankle operations, the elbow operations. He's scheduled for surgery on Tuesday, Charlie, and that's no joke.
Inside handoff to Metcalf. Sweep has the first down the right side. Gain of 10. Here's a young man at 5'10", 178 pounds, 2-time NCAA long jump champion, and he has brought a spark to the Brown offense.
There's Cody Rison on T.J. Turner, number 95, and that's an excellent block to hold the defensive end in. Watch the quickness of Eric Metcalf. He is flying outside. A good job of getting wide, and that's one thing this Brown team does better than it ever has before in recent years, is getting outside with the running game.
Metcalf already 2 carries. He's picked up 17 yards. And right behind him is end zone Jones. Keith Jones out of Nebraska, and he picks up 14. Jarvis Williams with the stop.
A side saddle. You see how Kosar is set with that right foot back. You're going to watch Keith Jones explode up inside, and the Browns have had trouble running the ball between the tackles. These are small backs for the most part. Jones is not a very big back at all. He's 5'9", 190 pounds, but he did a good job inside on that play.
First down at the 31, and here's Metcalf. 3 yards to the 28. It'll be second down and 7. Jeff Cross making the tackle. And of course, with the running twosome, Metcalf and then Jones, you set up play action passes.
Certainly do, but you've got to have blocking up front. Rison having real trouble with that knee, just unable to move his man out, and you can see that he is being very tentative with that left knee. I'll be amazed to see him make it through this ball game.
Metcalf is flanked wide to the right side. Kosar to throw. And the pass is complete to Ozzie Newsome. And the streak continues now at 148 games. Second in the history of the National Football League. Of course, you know Steve Largent has 168, and he is injured. Dave Aarons with the tackle. Merlin?
Ozzie Newsome right here, just a little down and out pattern, and Bernie out of that shotgun is going to lay it right into him. And Newsome just continues to do a great job. He said, hey, this game is still fun for me. As long as it's fun, I'm going to play. And he can still get free on those man-to-man coverages. That's all Miami was trying to run there, man-to-man.
Meanwhile, offensive holding, 10 yards. You bring it back to the 38-yard line. You nullify the play. Down goes over at 2nd and 17. 5:45 time remaining. We're in the first quarter. Miami leads it 3-0. And here's Joe.
You saw the Miami defensive lineman almost jump off sides, and if you're passing the ball, that gives you a real advantage. They're jumping back. They have to restart. But when you're going to...
He had the interception. I feel that he's kind of glad that he got the interception, got it out of the way, didn't cost him the ball game. And now you can get a number out of the way, a statistic that you don't want to fool with. Bernie Stumbles coming back. Here's the screen. It is dropped. Tim Manoa. Screen had developed perfectly, too. The whole timing, though, went away when Kozar stumbled, pulling back from center.
Actually, I don't think the stumble really hurt. In fact, it may have helped to sell the play. You see him right there. It looked like someone stepped on his foot coming out. And Kozar getting that ball off, but Manoa simply unable to handle the easy toss. Sometimes those are the toughest ones, the ones that just hang there for a while.
Brian Wagner will be kicking. Did not have a sparkling game last week. Had a couple of shanks and short kicks.
You're being kind, Charlie. You're being kind. He was
some
one
pressure.
He didn't enjoy the films last week.
No.
Most everyone did.
Hangs this one up. Wants to keep it short of the end zone. It goes in for the touchback. It'll go in the books as a 36-yarder. So we've got a timeout. 4:36 left to go. First quarter. Dolphins lead it 3-0. We mentioned the fact that Marino has not had a sack in 16 ball games. Well, Meneville said if he didn't have an offensive line, you could still only sack him 3 out of 10 times.
He's talking about how quickly Dan Marino can read the defense and get that ball in the air. And his release is miraculous, but I tell you, he's been releasing very often too soon.
Yes.
And by his own admission, has been making some poor judgments on throwing the football.
That may be a statistic that that is really bothering from that standpoint. And here is Sammy Smith. 7 yards to the 27. Felix Wright with the tackle. In the first 12 plays of the ball game, Miami 8 rushes and 4 passes.
Getting well and running the ball well in behind a good block from Harry Galbraith, number 62, that pulled on that play. You see Smith getting up to where he's got about 2nd and 3, and Marino hasn't seen many 2nd and 3s in the past few weeks. At least not with the running game cranking it out.
First down. Clay Matthews and Felix Wright bringing down Sammy Smith. Smith now 7 carries, 23 yards. Now let's check the score. Look at this. Detroit, Minnesota, no score, and Dallas, Green Bay now 6-3. Quick out pattern far side. That's Mark Duper and Hanford Dixon with the tackle.
Charlie, you notice that even though Miami has changed its uniforms and will wear aqua pants at home ordinarily, today they've gone back to the old white pants, and the reason very simply, the heat. Any kind of color will absorb the heat, and that's why they wear those white uniforms at home, hoping that the dark uniforms and those brown uniforms on the other side of the line are dark, are going to soak up some heat.
Interesting rushing matchups. You do not expect to see that with Miami.
Ooh.
Good defensive play. Loss of 5, back to the 32. It'll be 3rd down and 9 as Smith is dropped in his tracks by Big Daddy Carl Hairston and Michael Dean Perry. What a pair those two make. You know, the old aging grizzled veteran and the young bear.
I don't know if Big Daddy wants to be called aging.
Well, I'm going to say that you said that.
It's a nice matchup in a sense that you've got great experience in there to kind of steady down Michael Dean Perry. And at the same time, Michael Dean's explosiveness, and he explodes off the ball, gives Big Daddy some room to slide in behind him. And it's a great combination inside for this Cleveland defense.
3rd down and 8. Brown showing a 9-man front, then they drop out of it. And the pass is incomplete. Clayton, the intended receiver, and Braggs had the coverage.
Miami sideline up in arms. Their feeling was that there was interference on this play.
Hard to tell from that angle, though.
Very difficult to tell if the ball was catchable, and that might have been the critical factor there.
Gerald McNeil. Kind of a dicey snap. Reggie Roby with the kick. And is taken at the 16. And there's a right return on. If he can get around the corner, he cannot. Good coverage for the Dolphins. A 50-yard kick, a 4-yard return, and Jim Jensen, Mr. Everything, makes the tackle. Browns have the ball at their own 21-yard line. Miami leads it 3-0. Miami 3 and Cleveland nothing with 2:10 time remaining first quarter. And Cleveland has the ball for the second time, this time at their own 21-yard line. Metcalf in motion. Kozar with time. And the pass is complete to Webster Slaughter. Should be a first down at the 32-yard line. Gain of 11.
Good, how you doing?
Interesting thing to look for. Watch Kozar's eyes as he goes back. He'll look constantly to this side to take advantage of the safeties, and then at the last minute will turn around and snap the ball back the other way. Looking the safeties off, and right there, snaps around and fires the ball on the other side to Webster. Now his object to keep those safeties in place.
First down, Derek Tennell replaces Ozzie Newsome at tight end. The ball at the Cleveland 32. Here's the sweep right with Metcalf, and he is tripped up. Good defensive play. E.J. Jr. moving in underneath, makes the play as we go to New York for an update. Marv Albert. Marv? Interesting, the score there. The score here is Miami 3 and Cleveland nothing. I think everybody a bit surprised that the Colts are out in front by 2 touchdowns. Kozar comes out firing, and the pass is complete to Eric Metcalf. And Lewis Oliver, the rookie strong free safety from Florida, really decked him.
Now you hear that Lou. His style of play reminiscent of Kenny Easley. In fact, he has a little of that Easley swagger, and when he finally gets comfortable, and it's coming for him, he's maybe the strongest free safety or weak safety in the NFL. Weak safety doesn't seem to apply to him, does it?
Notice the shoulder pads. A couple of games ago, he had linebacker shoulder pads, and they went out about another 6 inches. He cut them back a little, but they're still, he's still using oversize.
He said people were grabbing those shoulder pads. He said, I had to get them off. He said, they felt good. I got some good hits, but he will dump you.
It was a first down at the 42. Tim Manoa and Hugh Green, having possibly his finest year since coming to the Dolphins a few years ago, makes the tackle. As we come to the end of the first quarter, the score, Miami 3 and Cleveland nothing. We'll be back with the second period in a moment. Welcome back to Joe Robbie Stadium. I'm Charlie Jones. Of course, this is Merlin Olsen. Last week after the game that we did in Buffalo, I went back and worked all week. But you didn't. You had a very interesting week.
I went to play.
You
and
did?
I went about as far north as you can get in this continent, unless you go to Alaska. Went to Maine and up the coast of Maine on a bike trip. And Charlie, it was delightful. Wife Susan along, and she's a super jock. Got a chance to see the great foliage up there. Oh, just absolutely beautiful. Now, how's that?
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Wonderful, wonderful colors.
Biking through
Not
the
bad.
countryside.
Charlie, you want to go now, don't you?
Yes. Well, I'm thinking about it. Let me put it that way. I'm thinking about it. Second down and 8, and the pass complete at the far side to Ozzie Newsome. Now let's finish out, of course, the week. And you visited fishing villages. Here are the statistics in the first quarter. First downs all the way down. Very equal. Very
Look at
equal.
that time of possession. Miami actually controlling the ball more than their opponents. That'll make Shula happy.
3rd down and 2. Kozar, it's intercepted at the 35-yard line. And then giving ground is Don McNeil, the old veteran.
They brought him back this last week. Injuries had cut people down in the secondary. They dusted him off. They put him back in uniform. And there he is, a huge smile on his face. He gets a good read, dropping back. Just cuts in front of Webster Slaughter, number 84. And that was just a good ball reaction to Kozar. Kozar thought he had the man coming free, but McNeil dropped off his own coverage, was there waiting for the football.
Miami at their own 29-yard line, 1st down. Dolphins leading 3-0 on Stoyanovic's 43-yard field goal, and they stay on the ground. If it works, stay with it, and this time it is Mark Logan.
Charlie, Michael Dean Perry has come out of the lineup. Chris Pike has gone in his place. Perhaps we can find out what has happened to Michael Dean.
Bernie Kosar, NFL's all-time least intercepted quarterback, 2.2%.
Of not making that kind of mistake.
2nd and 4. Sammy Smith. He has brought a spark to the Dolphin offense. 8 yards to the 43. 1st down, Miami. Thane Gash with the tackle.
Chance to watch from the end zone. Sammy Smith doing some fine running here. In behind a block by 23 hand. Well, who is that? Pick him up in a second. That's 20, Mark Logan, getting the block for him up front. But some good power running there by Sammy Smith.
Reno's pass juggled and almost intercepted. Fair flag is down. Farrell Edmonds, and then he lost it behind him, and Clay Matthews, and oh, he had 6 points, and he knows he had 6 points.
I don't know, though. Farrell Edmonds ran down a linebacker, and the linebacker had a 20-yard lead on him last week. He runs a 4.6 40. We'll look at it after the play. They're talking to Clay Matthews, so the penalty obviously would be going against Miami. Harry Galbraith ticketed with the holding call.
And it'll be 1st and 20 back at the 33.
Edmonds bobbled that ball twice. Matthews play. Watch Farrell. Bounces off his hands. Touched the second time. Off Clay's shoulder. Back into his stomach. He's saying, oh no, the end zone is right down there. Great athlete. I tell you, he's a do-it-all linebacker.
Playing on the left side this year. In the past, he's played on the right. Roy Stratford. Just a yard to the 34. It's going to be 2nd down and 19. Matthews said, we talked to him before the preseason game in London. He said it's like driving in London versus driving in Cleveland. He is now moving the right side of the highway to the left side, and you have to think every time. The Dolphins, by the way, gained only 43 yards rushing total last week against Houston. And today they're already past that. Pass over the middle, Jensen, 50-yard line. 2 yards shy of the 1st down. It'll be 3rd down.
From the end zone, you're going to see Jensen right here just make a quick move inside. But watch how they protect inside to give Marino time on the shotgun. They do not let anyone break clear. Marino time to just wait for Jensen to swing around the corner and come inside to do what he does so very well. Jim Jensen, a most unusual athlete, has been injury-free relatively throughout his entire career. He's been around for a long time. He's starting to lose a little bit of that good speed, but in 9 years, he has become more effective every year.
Reno 3rd and 2. Pass is complete at the 45-yard line. It'll be a 1st down. Mark Clayton pulled it in. Dixon with the tackle. Here's the Colts score over the Bills. They lead at home 14-0. The Cleveland nothing. Cleveland a slight favorite coming into the ball game. Time remaining, as you saw, in the first half. The ball at the Cleveland 45-yard line. Smith cuts back, slips a tackle, gives ground, and makes a mistake. When he cut back, he should have taken what he had there, losing 2 or 3, and he takes a big loss.
You see him put up his hands. In college, he had enough speed to run away from a good percentage of the people in that front 7. Not so against this Cleveland Brown defense. They have some excellent speed up front. Shut down here, just take what you got. Charlie, you're absolutely right. Thane Gash is there, Minifield is there, Felix Wright is there. 3 of the secondary already up there. Great run support from this Brown secondary.
Second down and 18. The ball back at the Miami 47-yard line. Dolphins lead at 3-0. Field goal in their opening drive. Pass far side is complete. And that is Mark Duper. He picks up 15, and he told us yesterday, he said, I can beat the Cleveland cornerbacks, and time will tell. And time will also tell that we'll be picking the Budweiser Most Valuable Player at the conclusion of today's game.
Charlie, Minifield is the back he's working on, and Minifield very often soloed. They give him a tough receiver, and they say, you've got him all over the field. Watch this shot. Right as Marino releases that ball, Blaylock coming on the blitz really puts him down hard.
Gain of 16. It's third down and 2 at the Cleveland 37.
Very often those shots after the throw hurt worse than a sack because the quarterback has thrown the ball and he's kind of stretched out and out of position.
A wobbly throw, but it is complete. And that is Troy Stratford. 29-yard line. Gain of 8, first down.
The secret for Miami's offense today, for Marino today, he's not 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15. This is a 2nd and short. Marino has all the options. He can throw the football as well as anyone in this situation, but boy, when you've got 2nd and short, 3rd and short, it's a lot easier than those 3rd and longs.
And now Mark Logan and Sammy Smith are the running backs. 9th play of the drive. Marino hot hand, 7 of 10, 78 yards.
What's the matter with the rookie over there?
And here is Smith, and he is dropped for another loss. This one of 6 yards back to the 35. Again, started inside. He was cut off there by David Grayson, and then he gave ground. Chris Pike came over to assist on the play.
Big Daddy Hairston here, and you see him cocked in that typical position. Watch as they put Michael Dean Perry inside, and right there on the outside, Grayson is the man, however, who's going to make this stop on the outside. Bang, inside, no room there. They go outside, and Grayson is waiting for Sammy Smith.
Now Sammy Smith has lost yardage on 4 of his 11 carries thus far.
I'm going to tell him, Sammy, just take it and go up inside. Just go after him.
Marino's pass incomplete. Jensen, the intended receiver, with the coverage was Clay Matthews.
You see Bud Carson, I sat with him briefly this morning, and he said, I'll tell you, Matthews is one of the finest linebackers I've ever had a chance to work with, ever seen in the NFL. He compares Matthews to Lambert and Ham, the great linebackers he had with that Pittsburgh defense. There he is.
I think Clay's going to pick one off.
He sure is. Twice today he's had his hands on Marino passes, and both with a chance to intercept them and perhaps go all the way.
Third down conversions, 3 of 5 for Miami. Third down and 16.
This is what Marino looked at all last week. 3rd and 16. There aren't that many good plays.
And we've got a timeout. 6:54. Time remaining. First half. Miami leads it 3-0.
Has to work as hard in the week and knows that he's not going to get a chance to play.
But he does get to wear that out.
He gets to wear those striped pants. That's his reward, huh?
3rd and 16. Marino. Is it caught and held? Yes.
Yes.
Duper, his first touchdown of the season.
Browns defense that has been so effective on the year, and Marino finding open receivers, finding Duper, covered man-to-man by Hanford-Dixon, and covered well, but still got him the football, and Duper, as you will see later on, made a very fine juggling catch.
11 plays, 71 yards on the drive, just over 7 minutes in time. And you mentioned the fact that 16 by the press count drop passes in the last 2 weeks. That was a pass that could have been dropped, but he battled it all the way, and we have a little hold up here.
Let's go back and take a look at that play. They may be questioning whether Duper actually controlled the football. Look at Hanford-Dixon right on top of him, bounces the ball. They are reviewing it upstairs. That's why we are held up on the play.
Replay. The play stands.
Duper said, there was no question. I knew I had it. I could have saved him time. Come over and ask me.
Charlie, they saw that ball bouncing around a little bit as we did, but Duper did have control of the football in the end zone, and he gets the touchdown as a result of it.
And the extra point is there. The score, Miami 10 and Cleveland nothing. 6:46, time remaining in the first half. We'll be back with a kickoff. It's kicking off. And Metcalf will take it about 8 yards deep in the end zone. Will bring it out to the 20. Merlin?
Go back and look at that play. The Browns play an awful lot of man-to-man. There's the matchup right there. That's Dixon on the receiver, Duper, and watch the great protection in the inside as Marino has time to look downfield, to wait, gets the pass in. Let it just go a little bit further. You'll see that ball bouncing out of Duper's hands. There it is. Ball bouncing cleanly out, controlling with one hand. Another angle on that is you watch Duper bounce it away and just hook it with that right arm. Good camera work and good catch, Mark Duper.
Kosar with pressure. He throws the screen. Here's Metcalf. Metcalf to the 25, and those chitter-butting steps. He was so quick I couldn't say it. And there is
Easy
Duper.
for you to say, Charlie.
No, it isn't easy for me to say. But it was easy for Duper to say yesterday, I'm not getting older, but my knees are.
Well, he's coming off a very difficult year, both on and off the field. And last year, drug problems, suspended at the end of the year, wants to reestablish himself. And he had been one of the premier receivers in the NFL. He can do it if he continues to play like that.
Keith Jones, and he'll pick up the first down to the 35-yard line. Gain of 6. Indian 4. And here it's Miami 10 and Cleveland nothing. Fake of the double reverse, and here's the sweep with Metcalf, and he is clean around the corner, cuts back to the 50 to 45, inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. 27 yards before Jarvis Williams gets it. Oh, he's excited.
Incredibly quick feet.
Jitterbugging feet.
I remember playing against his father Terry when he played for the Cardinals, and this was the same thing that you feared from his father. To get the ball to him, get the ball in his hands, his reactions, his movements so quick. Look how quickly he changes direction without apparently losing speed. He is most dangerous, but they've got to rest him. He's a small back. He can't take the pounding every play.
Here's Keith Jones. And he goes out of bounds at the 28. Flag is down. He goes out right at the first down marker.
Number 42, offense, 10 yards, still first down.
Called on Tim Manoa.
I'm sure that's one of the things that Don Shula talked all week about.
First and 13 at the 41-yard line. Penalty assessed from the spot of the foul. Kozar can run, as we saw last week, but this time he dumps it off. Webster Slaughter. 34-yard line.
Check the field down where we ran.
It'll be second down and 6.
plus for the Browns. That 0 really gives the Dolphins the edge. But I'm not so sure that the sacks mean as much to the Dolphins or to the Browns as they do. No, the other way around, Barry. I'm not so sure that those sacks are as meaningful for this Dolphin team as they are for the Browns team.
That's right. I couldn't see jitterbugging, so we're even. Meanwhile, Metcalf got a yard.
Charlie, the reason I say that is because sacks in and of themselves, I mean, you get to the quarterback, that's all right. Sometimes the very best play you can make as a defensive lineman is not to sack that quarterback, but to hurry him into a bad throw, which is a forced interception. That's a lot better than a sack anytime.
Third down, just under 5 to go for the first down. Goes our far side, and it's dropped. Pass was there to Webster. Slaughter hit him right in the numbers. He let it slip through his hands, and it came back bouncing off of the front part of his shoulder pad.
Top of your screen, number 84, working on 49, William Judson. You can't throw the ball any better than that. And Slaughter, who is a very dependable receiver, a fine athlete. Boy, they call him Grizzle Man. There's not an ounce of fat on him. But right now, what's going through his head is what went through the Miami receivers' heads all last week. Can't drop the football.
Matt Barr, 50 yards away. Will it make it? Yes, it does.
Two 47-yard field goals last week. One right at the end of the game to win the ball game. And it went over by about the same margin.
Matt Barr, who just converted the field goal from 50 yards away, is kicking off. And here is Mark Logan. Now, he returned one for a touchdown last week, the only time that Miami got on the board. And that was 97 yards away. This time he's limited to 21 yards on the return. Bud Carson, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and there's his wife Linda.
A team that is winning and tied for the divisional lead at this moment.
First down Miami at their own 27-yard line, and here is Mark Logan, and a flag is down.
Maybe a face now, holding right there.
Or was that a face mask against the offense?
No, it's a holding call. He showed that, but Al Baker doing a great job of just snatching that running back right off of his feet. Mike Johnson, the middle linebacker, and their players, college level, professional level, very mean to each other.
Yes. First down and 20 at the 17-yard line. And the clock moves to 2 minutes. So we'll take the 2-minute warning to both benches. We'll have a timeout, and we'll be back in just a moment. Big Daddy Harrison and Michael Dean Perry make a very interesting duo in the middle of that defense.
They certainly do, Charlie, and they're playing so well together. But I talked about players being mean to each other. Very often they give each other nicknames. It's Big Daddy, but now it's kind of Granddaddy. And Michael Dean, because of his short arms, their midfield is calling him Gator Arms now.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I wouldn't call him that.
Gator Arms?
Gator Arms.
Oh, that's mean. That is. First and 20. The ball at the 17-yard line. Reno scrambles. Throws back over the middle to Jensen, who digs it out and goes to the 23-yard line.
Pressure up inside. You want to crack the cup against Marino. You want to come up into his face from inside. There's Michael Dean with a spin move inside. Big Daddy going outside. They force Marino out of the cup, but he knows where Jensen is, able to get that ball into Jensen's hands to pick up a couple of yards.
They may be reviewing it to see if he scooped it off the turf or if it was a little short hop there. I think that's what is going on. Usually when the umpire comes over by himself and everybody gathers around him, that's what they're doing.
How old did you say Big Daddy was now?
Big Daddy's 36.
36 years old. Again, a chance for you to watch it at home. The pressure from number 78, Granddaddy Hairston. And let's see if that did bounce off the turf. Yes, it did. Touches the turf right there.
Ooh. Now run it
Eagle
regular.
eye.
Yeah, let's run it regular speed. I don't know, that shadow kind of. Yeah, you may be right.
I think the tip of the ball touches the ground. Is it on the ground? Let's see.
Now it has to be
not yet.
indisputably on
Not
the
yet
ground.
on the ground. Well,
Is that
right
indisputable?
there. Yeah. You've got to. You're right, Charlie. You've got to have indisputable evidence, and from that angle, I'm not so sure you could get
After
it.
review by replay, the play stands, completion, second down.
However, I would say it probably did touch the ground.
But it's not indisputable because
That's
of the way
right.
the shadow.
That's right.
And the shadows and the sunlight, bright, brilliant day today, very warm. The heat and the sunshine a factor. Reno comes right back to Jensen. He, by the way, coming into the ballgame, the leading receiver for the Miami Dolphins. Clay Matthews comes across to make the tackle.
In last week's game against Houston, Houston dropping everyone back. You can't do that today against this team because they've been able to run the ball. Although they've got to throw it here with time running down in the half.
3rd and 3, knocked away. Good defensive play. Kyle Baker. Woo, yes.
Using that 6'6" height. He got up well on that one to swat the ball down. To end the drive. It's the kind of situation where you can have a chance perhaps to go for a block. Maybe try and get something happening here with 1:04 on the clock.
Reggie Roby to kick. Is he wearing his watch today? Yes.
And who's going to snap? Kinshin hurt his thumb earlier. It's Jeff Uhlenhake who has had to go in place of. That's Uhlenhake, and Uhlenhake got a kind of a shaky snap moments ago. They've had 2 safeties on punt situations here in the first quarter of the season.
Good snap. Good kick. His first one was 51 yards, and this is a fair catch. And this one is 48 yards. Cleveland has the ball. 56 seconds time remaining. First half, and Miami leads by 7. Cleveland with a first down. Kozar has pressure. This one is deflected. It is incomplete. T.J. Turner is the man who just got his fingers on the ball, and it'll be second down.
We talk about Kosar being a long arm quarterback. Marino with that quick release, but Kosar has to get his feet set, and sometimes he isn't able to get that ball off as quickly. Watch him here, bringing that ball from the side, and Turner, who had slipped in front of him, enough of a warning, was able to get those hands up. So both quarterbacks have had one batted away in the last few minutes.
And it's second down and 10. Cleveland at their own 19. Trailing by 7, 10-3, 50 seconds left, first half. Sliding catch at the 36-yard line, then 4 more for Brian Brennan.
They call him BB. He is most effective out of the slot position, and there they are, right up to the ball. 33 seconds. They need some big yardage to get into field goal range for Barr.
A gain of 21 yards, first down. This pass is complete, and another first down.
Timeout.
Brennan again.
19 seconds on the clock, and Kosar has a timeout.
Number 2, 47
And last week in the game against Denver, at the end of the ball game, it was Brennan who became the hot receiver for Bernie Kosar, and now he finds him again in the drive at the end of the first half. Cleveland with 1 timeout, Miami with 2. 19 seconds left on the scoreboard clock. The ball at the Miami 49-yard line, so really you just need about another 15, 16 yards, and you're within field goal range.
Turnover is such a big factor in the game, Charlie. And looking at those numbers, the Browns lead the league in takeaways. But let's switch over for a second. I think what's even more important is the result of those turnovers. Miami has given the ball away 13 times. That's resulted in 38 points for their opponents. Only 2 giveaways. For the Browns, 0 points. Now let's turn it over the other way. What have the takeaways done for these 2 teams? 6 takeaways, only 10 points. But look down here for the Browns. 16 takeaways, 65 points. Now that's a number that'll jump out and grab you.
Kosar, they're going to rule in the grass. Miami gets the sack. That is their 18th on the year. They lead NFL in that category, and very effectively they have taken Cleveland out of field goal range. They weren't quite there yet, but they needed only about 15 yards.
Kosar, and you have to give credit on that. Soche, the man that's there at the bottom of the stack, but that's a coverage sack, Charlie.
Clock is moving. We're down to 0.
Another sack, back to back.
Brian Soche got the second sack. And the crowd really into the ball game. The Dolphins lead at halftime, 10-3. Let's go to New York and Marv Albert.
Along with O.J. Simpson, and we welcome those of you who are watching Cleveland at Miami. Home teams faring very well today in most cases. And the big story, the Chicago Bears getting trounced by Tampa Bay. An interesting development there, because during the week, Mike Ditka took exception to quarterback Vinny Testaverde's quote, obviously looking for some kind of motivation. Apparently Testaverde said that, well, we're going to come back and win next week. And then Ditka said, well, I don't know what encouraged Testaverde after the way he threw the ball up in Minnesota. Ditka said somebody said it looked like he was colorblind, and the color was green because he kept throwing at the carpet.
Well, he's not colorblind today. He's already thrown 2 touchdown passes. But the big story in this game is Tampa Bay is totally dominating Chicago defensively. They're not letting Chicago move the ball at all. They played some good ball this year. They're 2-2, and one of the games they lost was to the San Francisco 49ers, and that's a game Tampa should have won, but they're definitely a team that's on the upswing, and today they're totally dominating, one of the better teams in football.
All right, let's take a look at a rundown of the scores around the NFL at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Colts are all over the Buffalo Bills. In the, let's see now, at halftime, it is Miami leading Cleveland by the score of 10-3, the game that most of you have been watching. Bernie Kosar, the least intercepted passer in NFL history, 3rd and 2 on the 50, following a 43-yard field goal. Kosar picked off by Don McNeil, Kosar's second interception, only his second intercept of the year. 3rd and 16 on the Cleveland 35. Dolphins took advantage of the interception as Marino hit Duper for the score to make it a 10-0. At Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, one of the rare situations thus far.
Welcome back to Joe Robbie Stadium, where it is still halftime. I'm Charlie Jones along with Merlin Olsen. At the beginning of the telecast, Merlin, you talked about the fact that the difference in the week, it was a short, fun week for Cleveland and a long, very difficult week for Miami. And in a way, has this shown up in the first half?
Charlie, it has, and I think you see a real difference in the concentration level of these two teams. The Miami Dolphins came in with a lot to prove, and they came in playing a more physical game, doing a better job of concentrating. Cleveland Browns a little bit flat coming in this first half, and it showed up in their play. They're a little sloppy at times, not as sharp certainly as they were last week, but now we're into the second half of this game, and as is true in most football games, the big difference is not physical, it's emotional. And we saw that in the first half. Now what's happened in the locker rooms may be something quite different.
All right, then, so Miami comes out as the more emotional team of the two in the first half. Can Cleveland regain emotion in the second half? I mean, is that capable in the locker room at halftime?
Certainly is possible, and I think we'll get a good indication in the first series for each team. They'll kind of set the tempo for this second half. Something else we ought to think about, Charlie, and that's the temperature. The sun has been out most of the day, and the Miami Dolphins always talk about their edge this time of year. Yeah. In Cleveland right now, they're practicing at about 50-degree temperatures. It's not 50 degrees here, and perhaps, if they're not careful, you're going to see them wearing down. I think you'll see both teams doing some substituting in this second half to try and keep their people fresh.
Well, the temperature here is in the upper 80s or the low 90s on the field. I'm sure it's at least 100, maybe a little bit more than that. Cleveland, on the other hand, always feels that they have that same advantage when you come to play Cleveland in December. Sure. Oh,
well,
yeah.
It works both ways, yes. Charlie, but they get you down here with the heat.
The second half, will we see anything different?
I'm not so sure we will. I think both teams would like to do the same thing. I think the Miami Dolphins would like to go back to the success they had running the ball in the first quarter. They did not have as much success in the second half, but they have controlled the ball already more than they did in their game against Houston. You'll see that when we have a chance to get to the statistics of this ball game.
All right, now here's the game summary, and it's brought to you by Coors Beer.
Looking at those stats, first down's very even. rushing yardage favoring the Browns, but you've got to remember that Sammy Smith lost quite a bit of yardage, or that number for the Dolphins would be much higher. Passing yardage favoring the Dolphins as well as does the total yardage. But look down at the bottom. Possession, 1742 for the Dolphins. Last week, well, there it is, 1632 for the entire game. So they've already held the ball 1 minute longer in the first half than they did in the entire game last week. A couple of added statistics for you as well. Metcalf rushing for 6 times for 49 yards in that first half, Charlie, and making his presence felt by receiving the ball twice for 18 yards. So he has had a very, very big first half.
And also, he's only touched the ball 8 times, and that is a key because that's about what they would like, about 7, 8 times in each half, because as you mentioned earlier, you don't want to wear the man down.
Well, Marino getting his hands on the football. That a defensive player say, no, don't give him the ball. Keep him on the sideline.
You're right. All right, Cleveland will have the first opportunity in the second half on offense as Eric Metcalf is the deep back with Oliphant and Braggs, the 2 up backs. As we start the second half, it's Miami 10 and Cleveland 3. And this one will go out of bounds after it crosses the goal line, just by about a yard or a yard and a half, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. And Bernie Kosar will try to rally the troops. At 1 o'clock, we were out practicing. And here's Metcalf. Couple of yards to the 22. It'll be second down and 8. So Shea with the tackle. The Browns with that offensive line of Farron, Banker, Riccozzi, Fike, and Risen. Slaughter and Langhorne, Newsom the tight end. Metcalf and Manoa open as the running backs. Kosar, the quarterback, and a swing around Joe Robbie Stadium. Some 60,000 fans expected here this afternoon. It is not a sellout, and it's second down and 8. Pass is complete, far side. Knocked away. Langhorne had his first reception, and after the fumble, it is recovered by Cleveland. Lewis Oliver makes the hit. Boy, that ball came out of there.
We mentioned that Oliver striking people with some of the same aggressiveness as a Kenny Easley. You see that same hit here, a make something happening hit. Boy, he just knocked him all the way away from the ball, and Paul Farron, number 74, quickly onto the ball, and Oliver coming to the sideline, limping heavily with that, looks like his right leg, either an ankle or possibly a knee. Bob Lundy, the trainer there, to help him to the sideline. That would be a big blow. This is already a very shallow secondary for the Miami Dolphins.
Langhorne for Cleveland now, reception in 24 straight games. In the first half, Ozzie Newsome's streak continues. He's up at 148 games. And he has the first down as he goes right back to Reggie Langhorne, who picks up 17. It was 3rd and 9. Judson with the tackle, and Cleveland retains possession.
I'm always amazed at the way Bernie Kosar is able to be so accurate with that sidearm delivery, almost straight and flat. You'll see the motion here as he delivers the football. Watch how low he throws this football. He doesn't even get it above his helmet, Charlie, but he finds room to get it between the linemen, and that was a beautiful and perfect pass.
Lifford Hobley has replaced Lewis Oliver in the secondary. It's a first down at the 38-yard line. Cleveland trailing by 7, 10-3, opening drive, second half. Looking right and throwing left. Langhorne again, and this time it's William Judson who drops him. Questions. Kosar, if he finds a hot receiver, is he staying with him too long? He's come back to Langhorne now 3 times.
No, Charlie, he'll take whatever he can get on the field. And he doesn't favor receivers, he favors opportunities.
And wide open is Ozzie Newsome, 33-yard line of Miami, 24 yards, first down.
Well, Ozzie says it's still fun, and he wants to play as long as it's fun. No wonder he's having a good time. Right side of your picture, number 82, streaking right down the field, and no one is there to cover him. Perhaps because they've lost a safety in there. Anytime you shuffle people in and out, and Lifford Hobley has not played much in that safety position. With Oliver on the bench, they go right in after the safeties.
And here's Metcalf. And Eric goes to the 31 as a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Dave Aarons with the tackle. Today at 4:30 EC. Kozar, second half, 4 of 4. Five of 5. This is to Metcalf. Oh, he found an extra 4 yards at the end of that play.
What did you say about his feet earlier, Charlie? Jitter-bugging feet. About as quick as you can possibly get. Now this is almost a running play. Stretching the field. A long handoff. Now watch what Metcalf does when he gets that ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 changes of direction and finally just slips in underneath the pile. You don't very often get a straight shot at him. He's very good at sliding in underneath.
Cleveland driving for the tie. Here's Metcalf. And he goes over the top. 18-yard line. He has 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Barry Krause with a tackle.
Oliver on the sideline, and they're going to tape him up, but they expect to put him back in the ball game. An ankle problem, and Bob Lundy will slap some tape on there and say, go back and play, son.
Cleveland inside the 20-yard line. Now the Browns have been inside their opponent's 20-yard line 18 times this season, and 15 of those 18 times they have scored. First time they've been inside Miami's 20 in this ball game, and this is complete. 6 of 6 passes. This is to Webster Slaughter, and he's at the 8-yard line. It'll be 1st down and goal to go.
Webster Slaughter, the man they're going to come with right here, and you'll see Langhorne coming all the way across, and Webster working right in here for Bernie, taking advantage right here of the good speed. 2 wide receivers on the same side of the field, and look how open Webster Slaughter is. Again, in the area that the safeties would be responsible for, Charlie.
In the drive, in the half, Kozar 6 of 6, 67 yards. Manoa couldn't hear the audible. We've got flags.
Offside Hugh Green, but it's a touchdown. If none of the offensive linemen moved, I think that'll be a touchdown because it was 55, Hugh Green, that jumped off sides on the left.
Outside, number 55, defense, decline. Touchdown.
And Cleveland pulls within 1.
Shula wondering why Hugh Green is going to be offside on this play. Trying to get the jump. You see him right across the line. Shula furious. He doesn't want to see that lead go down to 0, and Barr has a chance to do that here.
Matt Barr, but it was Pagel who grabbed the ball and set it down. He saved it. This is the man who scored it. We're tied at 10. And Merlin Olsen, ball game tied at 10 as Matt Barr is kicking off. And Logan takes it 2 yards deep. Now he's right out to the goal line.
Well, they may call him there. The question, did the ball come out of the end zone? Not the feet, the ball, and I think they're going to call it a safety.
Depends on whether or not it broke the plane.
The ball determines whether or not, when it comes out of the end zone, it did not come out of the
Okay,
end
they're
zone.
saying that even though his feet are touching the line.
Good call. Good call, Merlin.
Let's see now where the feet are and where the ball is. Well, now is that a toe dance or what? I'm not so sure that the ball didn't break it.
Miami at the 20, 1st down. Pass is complete. First down off of a play action fake to Mark Duper.
Back to that touchdown play. Hugh Green, the man, is going to come offside, but watch the blocking right here of Manoah and the run cutting back against the grain by Metcalf as he goes into the end zone behind good blocking by Ted Banker and Paul Farron. A little cutback right there, just enough room as he pops up inside to bring this game back to even.
Miami at their own 31-yard line on that last play. You just saw history set. And here is Sammy Smith, and he's going to go out to about the 33-yard line. Now, with the pass just a moment ago, Dan Marino joined the elite of the top 25 quarterbacks who have thrown for more than 25,000 yards. This is a roll call of legends.
Certainly is, and I think everyone watching is going to find a couple of favorites in there. I think they just put it up on the board here, and the crowd responding as they should to the kind of quality that Dan Marino has brought to the quarterbacking position here in Miami. And look at the last name, next to the last name.
Yes.
Two Miami quarterbacks.
Troy Stratford and Thane Gash makes the tackle.
Charlie, weren't you here with Bob Greasy for Marino's first game?
Yes, it was the game at the Orange Bowl. They played Buffalo. It went to overtime, and he got his first start. And his first pass was an interception. Shaky in the first half. Really played great in the second half. After the game was over, they lost in overtime. After the game was over, it's a late ball game. I was out at Bob's house. We were sitting around the pool, and he was very morose. And I said, Bob, why are you so down? Why are you so down? It's a good telecast, good ball game. He said, Marino, he's going to take all of my records away.
And he has.
And he has.
And
He's just got one or two left, and he's going to get those. Third down and a yard, and a good move to the outside, saving the first down. The ball was down. They're going to rule the ball down. The old Brown cannot cause a fumble trick. And the ball is down.
Eddie Brown, the assassin, saying, hey, he can't kick like that. Well, they had a whole stack of Browns, and Thane Gash kind of booted off the pile at the last minute by Sammy Smith.
Which includes Seattle at San Diego. That's where we're going to be.
Charlie gets to stay home this week.
Yes, yes. Not that bad. Not that bad.
Look out.
And Marino's throwing this away, but nearby was the tight end Farrell Edmonds. Andrew Stewart, the rookie from Cincinnati, was the man chasing him.
They like Andrew Stewart. You'll see how quickly he gets outside here, breaking the plane. Once he's out there, he runs a 4.6. He'll run away from Sammy Smith, from a lot of folks, and Marino just decides that best he get that football in the air.
Yes. Second down and 10.
I talked about rotating personnel. That's exactly what they're doing down there as you see Stewart in the ball game.
Well, the pass is now catching up to the rushes. Miami 18 runs, 17 passes.
Old habits die hard here in Miami.
They do. Stratford. A yard to the 45. It's going to be third down and 9. 10-minute ticker. Let's see what's going on. Indianapolis, look at this. Oh, it's 5, 10, and counting. Time remaining. Good ball game. Three-man rush, and the pass is incomplete. Duper, the intended receiver. And it'll be fourth down.
That's the kind of set that Marino faced all week, last week, or all day against Houston. Only the three-man rush and 8 dropping. And of course, although Bud Carson will not use 8 defensive backs, he will use 7 and did on that series. And he's got 7 good ones. In fact, I know there's not a better nickel package in the NFL than what the Browns can throw at you.
Reggie Roby to kick. I don't know why. I'm fascinated with the fact that he wears a watch in a football game, and I don't know why. Just maybe wants to know what time it is. Here's the cue. McNeil takes it at the 16. He's to the 20 and brought down at the 21, maybe the 22-yard line by Nuo Fa'ola. 40 yards on the kick, 7 yards on the return. We've got a timeout. We're tied at 10.
Very, very quick nose tackle, and they're having a real battle inside.
First down, Cleveland, 21-yard line. Kozar is now 7 of 7 in the second half as he drops this one off to Barry Redden. And Dave Aarons along with E.J. Jr. were there for the defense.
Let's go back and look at that battle between Sauché and Riccozzi. And Sauché is so quick at responding that Riccozzi told me he was going to use some head fakes. He said he was going to lead him out the wrong way just by lifting his head off the side. He saw Ray McDonald do that when he played against Sauché, and it worked here as they were able to decoy Sauché away from the action, but they didn't get everybody away from that.
2nd and 9. Kozar with that stance where he can step back away very quickly from quarterback. Speed, of course, not one of his great assets, although he ran well last week in the ballgame. And he is now 8 of 8. This is tight end Ozzie Newsome with his 3rd reception of the ballgame.
Charlie, while I was in the locker room talking to Sauché, he was putting on his contacts, and I said, you wear those in the game? He said, oh, yeah. He said, I can't see anything. He took out his glasses. His glasses looked like the bottom of Coke bottles. And I said, have you ever lost your contacts in a game? You know what he said? He said, yeah, once. He said, I had to borrow the trainer's contacts. He's got a spare set now, but he said without his contacts, he said, you stand 5 feet away, I can't read your number.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, that's encouragement to the kids out there who wear glasses and want to play football.
That's right, exactly. Just because you have the eyes of an eagle, which you do.
The runner.
He's going to throw it. Now, that's the first pass he's missed in the second half. He's behind Webster Slaughters. I wanted to see him run.
Well, let's see what happened on this play. Maybe we can figure out what happened. 73, Riccozzi trying to work Sauché off. He gets right in the middle of things. Now he gets after, a little bit of a late block there, trying to protect the heels of his quarterback.
Did you see how quickly Kozar went past the screen?
Kozar is a runner.
Yeah.
Maybe we can look at those running stats for the quarterbacks. Kozar has come off his greatest game running ever.
That's right, yes. 33 yards. And his longest run in history, 23 yards. A key run against Denver last week. It's 2nd and 10. Ball game tied here at 10-10. 3 minutes left to go, 3rd quarter. And he overthrows Webster Slaughter. Slaughter a little tentative. He had 3 Dolphins surrounding him in the secondary.
They were waiting. But let's talk about their running stats. Those yards last week against Denver when he outrushed Elway.
3rd down, 3rd quarter.
Sack.
The 3rd, Jeff Cross got his 5th of the year. And that's 20 on the season for the Dolphins.
That's sacks, lifetime sacks, as well as 1989 sacks for Cross. He didn't have any coming into this year. Charlie, we talked about how tough this last week was. I asked him about the game. He said, I try and tape the games and send the tape out to my parents in Blythe, California. He said, the tape screwed up in the machine, and I said, oh, good.
Brian Wagner to kick to Troy Stratford. There's pressure. He gets it off.
Almost. J.B. Brown almost blocked out.
Stratford to the 50. Into Brown territory out at the 47-yard line. 36-yard kick, 12-yard return. Let's go back to the pressure on the kicker.
Right-hand side of your screen, number 37, streaking in there. Look how close he comes to that football. Wow.
Different numbers, you get different kind of updates. You get baseball scores and football scores and general sports information. It's really a very nice service.
And a nice service to charity as well.
Marino far side flag is down. That was Mark Clayton. On the receiving end with the coverage was Frank Minifield.
Good battle between those two, and Minifield.
Number 31, defense.
Minifield arguing the play, saying no way. This is a great battle between two very athletic all-pros. Clayton, who came into this game with a bad knee, will run him off and then come back against the grain. Look how quickly Minifield responds. There are the hands. There are the hands, and that's what they called right there. Not a catch, by the way. That ball was on the ground.
Save that. Let's save that. I want to point out something else when we come back. You were right. Here's Mark Logan. Now go back. Was it not a possibility of offensive pass interference when Clayton also using that right arm shielding Minifield away from it?
Well, that's a hard call to get, Charlie. You've got to be very obvious as an offensive receiver to get the call. The first push comes from Minifield right there, and then Clayton swinging that arm back, but that arm is away from the official, and it's very hard for the official who's on the sideline to see that arm swinging back. But that is a great play by Clayton, and a very athletic play by both of those players.
And it's 2nd down and 7 at the 29-yard line. Jensen in the backfield. Ooh. Marino was out of time.
Yeah, we talk about Marino not allowing the sack. An example right there. Feeling the blitz. Clay Matthews coming in. Watch, he's just going to unload this football. And very quickly, Big Daddy and Clay Matthews make a sandwich out of Marino. But he's got that football over the head of the receivers. It's the quick release and the quick read, the quick eyes of Marino that make it possible for him to do that. But the other thing I mentioned earlier, Charlie, by his own admission, he's made some bad throws by trying to gun that ball out of there.
Field goal and a touchdown coupled with 3 punts. The possessions of the Dolphins. This drive started at the Brown 47-yard line, has now moved to the Cleveland 29, just inside the 29. Here's Jensen, flea flicker.
Oh, the old flea flicker. No, they didn't buy it.
They didn't buy it, and spinning in the air was Troy Stratford as he was turned end over end.
Tony Blaylock
and Felix
Wright were right there. I said earlier that this team puts up the best nickel coverage, and they did not bite at all on this. Look how good the coverage is. Usually, you're going to see the defensive backs up on that situation. Oh, look at the feet in the air, Charlie. You called that one beautifully. This play normally gets people to bite. Not that Cleveland secondary. They did a brilliant job.
And a 46-yard field goal attempt by Stoyanovich.
Maybe a little short.
Did it make it? No.
Just to the right.
So Stoyanovich, who is hit from 43, misses from 46, and we remain deadlocked at 10 with 1:08 time remaining, 3rd quarter. And the cloud coverage is moving in, and rain is threatening, and just to the right side.
Body English didn't help.
I like quiet little towns like Crested Butte. Catching a live one out of the chute. Fireside chats, mountain air, hot dogs, and cold Coors beer. It takes a part of this country as cold and clean as the Rockies to brew a beer as pure and natural as Coors. Brewery fresh, just like you like it. Tap an ice cold Coors with a friend of yours. A Rocky Mountain legend, an American original.
What's the difference? It takes too long to learn to use a computer.
Wrong. DeskMate makes the difference with graphics that guide you.
Learning new software is like starting over.
Not now. DeskMate uses the same plain English commands with different programs like load a spreadsheet for DeskMate.
A computer? I wouldn't know what to do.
Now you will. DeskMate makes the difference.
DeskMate is simple.
It's PC compatible.
DeskMate is even easier on Tandy computers.
The friendly face in the PC crowd at Radio Shack and participating dealers.
Union Gas. Today's union movement is all about giving people a voice in what goes on at work and in supporting one another. I believe in that. I said union, yes.
America works best when we say Union Gas.
One airline works harder than any other to make sure that a good landing not only means getting you there on time, but landing your bag in your hand on time as well. United. Come fly the friendly skies.
This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen. 1:08 is the time remaining in the 3rd quarter. We're tied at 10. Cleveland now has had a couple of things work to their advantage.
Yeah, they certainly have an opportunity here with that missed field goal to get the emotional edge back in the game, and the cloud covers cooled things off, and that will help them.
Eric Metcalf, he bounces back, makes a couple of quick moves, and is dropped at the 25. So he's going to lose 4. It'll be 2nd down and 14. Barry Krause is the man who made the tackle.
Krause celebrating in there, getting a start this week over Greg Clark. And you talked about aging linebackers. Krause had only had one play and a little bit in the fourth quarter last week, so he has not had a lot of play. Starter for the Colts for so many years, but he is enjoying the opportunity to play today.
In fact, the Miami linebackers all have a lot of experience.
They do. Beaucoup experience.
Yes. 2nd and 14. That's the clock. Time remaining, third quarter.
Blitz.
Lofted down the sideline, and it is incomplete. Slaughter, the intended receiver, and William Judson went with him. It'll be 3rd down and 14.
Blitz coming on Kosar, and he is not a good quarterback to blitz. They pick it up. That's Rakosi picking up the blitz inside. Slaughter trying to take it over the top, got his hands on it. Judson, number 49, doing a good job in coverage.
Remember when Kosar started that hot hand in the second half and he had 7 out of 7? Well, he's since his first incompletion, he's 0 for 3. These are his numbers for the entire ball game. 15 of 23, 153, no touchdowns, 1 interception. 3rd and 14. Fires over the middle. It's going to be short of the first down by about 4 yards. Reggie Langhorne brought down by Lippert Hobley as the third quarter comes to a close. We are tied at 10 at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Back with the final period in just a moment.
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can begin to break down an oil immediately. That's why there's Castrol, the motor oil that in every grade provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol before your engine does something to get you heated up. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
No place like America. Anywhere, every face tells a different story. But there's a taste we all share. America's meat and potatoes, quarter pounder or McDLT, golden fries made America's way. That's meat and potatoes, McDonald's USA.
Liberty Mutual presents the automobile accident that never happened. In helping to pioneer safety belts, we made driving safer for everyone.
America believes in liberty. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
We get ready to start the fourth quarter, tied at 10. I'm Charlie Jones. This is Merlin Olsen. It's a very warm day, high humidity, but now a cloud cover, maybe a little threat of rain. The wind has come up. It's got to help. It's got to help.
Well, it does, Charlie. I remember playing a game in New Orleans before they had the dome. I lost 24 pounds in that game, and just before the half, I went to the trainer. I said, "Have you got a stretcher here?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "You got an ambulance here?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "I think I may need it." But it missed it. It was like 99% humidity, missed it at halftime, cooled down just enough that I didn't pass out. I felt it was, and just that little bit allowed me to get through the game. The cooling here, I think, really is going to help the Cleveland Browns.
24 pounds?
24 pounds in the game.
Ooh.
And I was drinking fluids throughout.
Brian Wagner. Good kick. Stratford circles under, takes it at 22, slips one tackle. He's to the 25, 27-yard line. Van Waiters makes the tackle, 42 yards of the kick, a 5-yard return. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Battles on baseball.
Great American pastime.
Kaz on women.
The great American pastime.
It's a whole new ball game with Hardball, Friday.
The statistics through 3 quarters go to the bottom of the list. 10 seconds between time of possession.
Really good news for the Dolphins, who have, as we mentioned last week, held on to the ball about 16 minutes. And we usually think of that offensively, but imagine how much time that their defense was on the field. Yes. These guys wore themselves out, and it had an impact, particularly in the 4th quarter. The Dolphins on the year have not been a 4th quarter team, outscored 56-17, Charlie, in the 4th quarter.
And we are tied at 10, and a flag is down. Sammy Smith, the ball carrier. Michael Dean Perry with the tackle. We'll check out the flag.
That flag bounced right off the helmet, I think, of Michael Dean Perry. That official showing some accuracy in there, although he's tagging an offensive lineman.
62, offense.
Harry Galbraith.
10 yards, still first down.
It's a shame that we just get to mention Galbraith's name as we do other offensive linemen as they hold. Let's watch this shift by the whole Browns line as they move from an over defense to an under defense. And there was the hold as Galbraith just did a little takedown on Big Daddy Hairston. He said, "You ain't going nowhere." He stepped down to the ground, and the official said, "Yeah, but that's going to cost you 10 yards. Now look at this. Both the tackles stacked up right on top of Uhlenhake. That would make me nervous. Now they slide inside. You see Perry in that classic cock position of Bud Carson's defense.
Inside handoff to Stratford. And now for an update, let's go to New York. And here's Marv Albert. Marv?
Thank you, Charlie. In Foxborough, New England rolling it up against Houston following a fumble recovery. John Stevens took it home from 11 yards out. So Doug Flutie and the Patriots in front of Houston 20-3 in the 3rd. Back to Charlie and Merlin.
Thank you, Marv. And who would have thought? We saw New England last week at Buffalo, and it inept is one word, but they had some sparkles with Flutie. They were without Stevens, and he has to help them being healthy again.
We knew that Stevens would make a difference, but Charlie, I think one thing that's happening is that teams that won big last week have been celebrating.
Number 80, offense, deep line, 2nd down.
Farrell Edmonds getting his name broadcast, and this is the kind of long yardage that Marino, as we mentioned, faced so often against Houston. Let's see how many they bring.
They show a 5-man front.
They aren't coming, though.
4 of them will. At the 19-yard line, the pass is complete to Jim Jensen. It's a gain of 5. It'll be 3rd down and 18. Mike Johnson with the tackle. 10-minute ticker. Indianapolis 23. You're right, Buffalo, they may be celebrating. They had 6. Giants in front of Philadelphia in a close one, and that's the New England update that Marv gave us, 20-3. The Patriots, and nobody would have thought they would have done that. Tampa Bay leads Chicago, but the Bears are beginning to come back, and Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh rejuvenated a couple of weeks ago, and they are tied in the 3rd. Minnesota leading Detroit 24-10, and Green Bay in front of Dallas. In that Buffalo game, Buffalo has turned the ball over 4 times, and all 4 turnovers have been converted into scores, and we understand that the quarterback Jim Kelly has been hurt. Flags, there was some jumping, and when they stopped the play, now that was Big Daddy Carl Hairston. Now when they stopped the play, usually it's a call on the offensive line unless the defensive player made contact.
He made contact.
I like the hands up, though. I didn't know.
Well, if he can get back.
Defense, contact before the snap. Still 3rd down.
If he can get back, it's not an encroachment. But unfortunately, he made the tap right there on Uhlenhake, the center, number 63. And they've done a good job on that offensive line. Ronnie Lee over there at right tackle, Harry Galbraith, Uhlenhake, Roy Foster, and Jeff Dellenbach. And you said at the top of the broadcast, much stabilized as an offensive line. They have protected Marino well today.
3rd down and 12. Marino's pass is low, but caught. It's a 1st down at the 40. He needed 12. He got 15. He went to Duper, and Dane Gash made the stop.
You hear them shouting, Duke, Duke, Duke. Marino looked left first, and then back to Duper on the right-hand side. You're right, Charlie, that ball was low and slightly behind, but he could feel the safety edging over in that direction.
And Miami, a ball club that dropped a ton of passes the last 2 weeks, and it's been close. They've been hanging on to it today. First down. Ball game tied at 10-10, 11:57 and counting. Time remaining, fourth quarter. Here's Sammy Smith. And he's going to lean to the 41. And it'll be second down and 9. I wonder if they talked to him about some of the yardage that he lost in the first half when he would be hit at the line of scrimmage or yard behind and then try to swing back outside. He'd end up losing 4 or 5.
Yeah, they got to talk to him a little bit. Charlie, one of the things that is bothering Miami is all the jumping. Let's turn this loose and watch how many adjustments are made on the line. Big Daddy sliding over, Mike Johnson sliding over, and then they jump the other tackle over on the inside, Perry, and you see that confusion that is created when you move that many people around, and that's one of the problems that Miami's offensive line is having. That's one of the problems that Sammy Smith is having too.
Second and 9. Jensen, flag is down. He's got the first down if it stands. There was a marker dropped at the 41-yard line.
Michael Dean Perry saying they're holding on that play. Very, very difficult with this wide open style of defense that the Browns are playing to keep them all out of that backfield.
Illegal use of the hands, number 29, defense, holding, number 61, offset, offense, penalties offset, second down at the line of scrimmage.
So we have 2 penalties actually. Hanford-Dixon called for holding in the secondary, and a call against Roy Foster as he's working mano a mano. Let's look at Roy Foster, the middle of the screen, as he tries to take on Michael Dean Perry. Watch that matchup, and Perry able to burst by him, and Foster, classic takedown maneuver, more akin to a wrestling match than a football game, but he's solo. He's solo. That's a tough matchup because not only is Michael Dean Perry extremely quick off the ball, he's a very powerful man. Great strength.
Second and 9. Now here's the defensive switch as they show a safety blitz. And they give Marino a very tough read. And they don't come. He goes right where the safety had moved and then moved back out. Bradford with the ball right with the tackle. Now the defense of the Cleveland Browns. Let's go before we get to the defense. Let's go to Jim Jensen.
Jim Jensen, number 11, getting outside on Clay Matthews, keeping him out of the action. But Felix Wright is the guy who really comes up and makes a play. He's made 28 tackles. I tell you, that's great support from a strong safety. One of the best free safeties in the league last year has moved to strong safety, an impact player there as well, Charlie.
Third down and 5. Moving on the 10-minute mark, time remaining in the game.
You see the hand signals from Marino telling the receiver what pattern he wants.
Visual audibles. Into coverage, and it is incomplete. It'll be fourth down. Today's telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, Cleveland Browns, and Miami Dolphins. All rights reserved. The report on Jim Kelly in the Buffalo game. He has left the game. X-rays of the left shoulder are being taken at this time. If we get a further update, we will pass that on to you. The cue. Gerald McNeil set to return the kick of Reggie Roby in that distinctive high drop style of his. And the cube's at the 10. He does a spin move at the 18-yard line, but somebody had a fistful of jerseys. He got about 8 yards on the return.
That is 45 yards.
46 yards on the kick, an 8-yard return. We remain tied at 10. We'll be back in just a moment.
Talk to me, CJ. What are you really feeling?
It's very sweet.
This is what sets every Mazda apart. It's called Conseil Engineering. Engineering based on human feelings.
Keep an eye on his pulse, please.
With it, Mazda can actually learn how to create cars that feel just right. Because to us, feeling right is what driving is really all about. Mazda.
It just feels right.
made up my mind. I'm going to do it. Why shouldn't I? I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every morning. So before I lose another hair, I'm going to the doctor. I know doctors have treatment programs that are proven to work. More guys are trying them every day. I'm not bad now, but I wouldn't mind looking better.
Your doctor can really do something about hair loss. So see your doctor, or call this toll-free number.
Well, my blue jean lady, it's that time again. To put little Jenny to bed early and toast to another year of mortgage payments and football widowhood, of getting a new driveway put in, and taking December to get over the flu. And tonight, as you comb your hair up and put on that black velvet dress, expecting no more than roses, I'm going to give you something on our 5th year together to make your baby blues open very wide.
NBC sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Mazda, it just feels right. By Coors Light, pure brewed in the Rockies, the silver bullet won't slow you down. It's the right beer now. And by Allstate, we're committed to building a car insurance system everyone can live with.
One of my favorite songs is That's What Friends Are For. Let's go back to the end of the last play.
Sometimes cooler heads have to prevail. Watch J.B. Brown and Jeff Uhlenhake.
Hold it right there. Keep that picture in your mind. We're back live. We're going to go back to it in a moment. Kozar looks outside, and he goes to Keith Jones. Pass is complete. Now let's go back to where we were just a moment ago as we pick up the action.
63, right-hand side of your screen. Look at this. Come back out of there. You want a penalty or something?
Yes.
Cooler heads.
And now the official said, I'll help out. I'll help out.
And look at those exciting colors.
Yes.
I think we ran out of tape at that moment. Second and about 7 yards to go. The Browns want to get something headed out here.
Uhlenhake did it just with 1/5, so he pulled him right out.
They know how to hold those offensive linemen.
2nd and 7. Ball game tied at 10, 8:53.
Manoa back to an I formation. Bernie calls an audible here.
Metcalf right at the middle. Ooh. 30-yard line, first down. 9 yards on the play. Game 5 of the American League Championship Series. The Oakland A's, the Toronto Blue Jays at 4:30 Eastern Time, of course, following the telecast of our football game. And then we move on to this evening, prime time, the National League Championship Series, Candlestick Park, the Cubs and the Giants at 8 o'clock Eastern Time here on NBC. 30-yard line, first down. Moving on the 8-minute mark, time remaining. And here is Jones to the 34-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Barry Krause with the tackle. We mentioned the fact that the linebackers have a lot of experience with the Miami Dolphins. And it runs up there to, what, 38 years experience?
Funny you should ask, Charlie.
Hugh Green with 9, Junior with 9, Aaron's with 9, 38 years. But
well,
30 of those 38 years experience with other teams.
And all of these players were free agents, plan B. You say, what, Hugh Green was here, yes, but he was not protected here. So 3 have come from other teams. One of them was cut from another team, in fact, Cleveland. Krause came from Cleveland after moving there from the Colts in plan B.
That is a Statue of Liberty.
That's an old-timer.
I mean, that's an old-timer, and he gave it to a young-timer, Eric Metcalf, and it didn't fool anybody.
There's the play. Boy, I tell you, that's right out of history books.
I remember that.
Football history.
Yes.
Didn't fool that Miami defense. Charlie, just as a tag to that linebacker note. Well, let's look at that first. When they rush for 100 plus, they're over 100. Well, we still have a tied score. Kosar would like to see that statistic added on the winning side.
3rd and 4, we got flags everywhere.
Time, I think.
Now finish your point.
Charlie, what I wanted to say there was, with Offerdahl out.
68, offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Offerdahl, the defensive captain, Pro Bowl player the last 3 years, with him out of the lineup, with Mark Brown, the other starting inside linebacker, out of the lineup, the cornerstone, really the middle of that Miami defense was crippled. And Tom Olivadotti, the left-hand side of your screen with his hand on the headset, said, what do you do? When you lose the strength of your linebacking core, you got to go out and grab guys and put them to work. They put Aarons to work in the middle. Barry Krause is in there working in the middle of the day. Hugh Green is having a good year. And over on the other side, E.J. Jr., who has been badly maligned, in on a $500,000 contract, $200,000 signing bonus, says, I got to prove myself out there today. Good
First
play.
down. 3rd and 9 to Langhorne. He got 12 yards. Now, don't adjust your sets at home. If you're hearing some rumbling and some roar in the background, that's thunder, because the crowds continue to roll in, and we may have some showers. Usually they come at 3:45. That's about 20 minutes away. It seems like every afternoon at 3:45. And there's a look at this guy. That's a bit ominous. That's ominous.
Well, Larry Cirillo, our producer,
has a bad knee. And
forecast this yesterday. He said it's going to rain, and sure enough it did. It's back again today.
First down at the 43-yard line. Ball game tied 10-10. 6:09. Time remaining. Here's Metcalf. Has a yard. 2nd down and 9. Next week, first half of the doubleheader. Many of you will see Houston and Chicago. That's going to be interesting. They're both trailing at last report we had. Miami at Cincinnati. Now that shapes up to be a good one. Second half of the doubleheader. Indianapolis at Denver and Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Those are the main games. There are some regional games also, including Seattle at San Diego. We'd just like to kind of mention that one in as an aside in case if you happen to be traveling into the Northwest. 2nd and 9. Good games next week. Kozar's pressure from the outside. It is tipped and incomplete, and trying to pick off the interception was William Judson. It was Hugh Green putting the pressure on, and Judson just could not quite react in time. It'll be 3rd down.
9 years of experience coming off the left-hand side. 55. Watch him. Watch the hit. Ooh. Now you see why so many quarterbacks are hurt after they throw the football. Bernie checking to see if his whole body. Bernie's just checking to see if his whole body's together as he hits the ground.
And that is something you mentioned in the first half, because that right arm is up and he's coming right in underneath it. Now the rib cage is wide open.
And lucky that that was not intercepted. Very, very close.
And that's why he wears rib pads.
You bet. Sidearm.
First down. Webster Slaughter. He went deep and he cut it off right past the first down marker. He needed 9. He got 10.
These Cleveland receivers just have too much speed for the man-to-man coverage that Miami's trying to put on them. And Judson drifts away, but boy, they're lucky. If Judson reacts just a little sooner with a receiver standing there and not coming back to the ball, he's got a chance at an interception.
The ball just outside the Miami 45. First down. 4:40. There it is, and counting. Time remaining. 4th quarter. Metcalf, fake of the double reverse. He keeps it. And he goes to the 42. So he has 3 yards. That gives him 77 yards in 15 carries, the most rushing yards by a Brown this season.
But he is carrying the ball, I think, way too much for a back of his size. Now, Carson is no dummy. He said if you got a great back and you give him the ball, a lot of good things will happen. And I say that in a humorous way, Bud. I have great respect for your coaching ability, but having great players on the field doesn't hurt at all, does it, Charlie?
That can make you a great coach, can't it?
You bet. You know, Greg Rakosi in there in the middle of that line, but the guy that surprises me is Cody Rison. Cody is still on there.
He's still there.
Bad knee and all, still in there plugging.
Well, he may go another week before he has that surgery. Flags are down. Metcalf is down. That was 2nd and 7. That stops the clock at 3:48.
We talked about Cody Rison's knee clicking on him and troubles with it.
False start. Offense. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
It's going to be 2nd and 12.
If he can come out of this game, he said just a loose body in that knee that had worked itself around and it's locked a couple of times on him. Boy, he's had enough surgery. Look at that elbow.
Arthroscopic surgery in the summer.
Well, he's had
in July.
3 surgeries on one elbow, 2 on another. That the kind of guts it takes to get out there and play on a wheel like that. I've had some of those clickers in my knee, and they're no fun. Very painful.
Flag is down. Yeah. Screen left side after a fake of the screen right side. This is Manoa.
Ozzie Newsome.
He's got a yard.
Yeah. Ozzie Newsome trying to block. He doesn't. That's not what Ozzie is known for. We had a linebacker on the blitz, and Ozzie just hung on, tackled him, and it was all over.
Holding, number 82, offense, 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, still second down.
It'll be 2nd and 22. As he sets it, they start to break it. He's still talking to players about what he wants them to do.
Lots of descriptive phrases.
Newsome in motion. Barry Redden. A couple of yards. It's going to be 3rd and 20.
I don't know where that play was going. Trying to stomp it right up into the middle of the line. There wasn't much there.
Here's the man that had to wait and wait and wait for the head coaching job. He got it at 57. He's now 58, his first year as a head coach. He told us in London, the preseason game, he said, I'm worried about calling the timeouts at the end of the halves. He said, I haven't done that before.
He's much more comfortable now than he was then, Charlie.
He has done a super job. Kozar goes deep over the middle, and it is dropped. It was in the hands for a moment of Lawyer Tillman, the rookie from Auburn, and then he was nailed by Jarvis Williams. It's incomplete.
You're going to see what an aggressive, strong safety can do right here.
Oh, that hurt.
That's welcome to the NFL, son.
But good reaction by Tillman. He thought possibly that he'd had possession. He went right to recover the ball, but this is the man. He put a hit on him.
Jarvis looking up at the screen here. He wanted to see that hit himself.
See it again.
I don't blame him for that. I'd look up there, too.
That was a good one. Wagner, good kick. Bradford takes it at the 3. Inside the 10, you let it go. He gets back to the 10-yard line. 50 yards on the kick, 7 yards on the return. Lawyer Tillman, he's a rookie, taken in the 2nd round. This is normal speed. Here's the ball and the hit. We remain tied at 10.
I wish we could have given you normal sound on that one.
So we really doing this?
We're gonna have a long time together.
Oh, I'm late. I gotta go.
Talk to you later. Over dinner.
When?
8.
8. Be there.
Bye.
This is why Allstate gives a 10% discount for cars with anti-lock brakes. We're the only major insurance company that does. Call Allstate.
There is a point at which all things must evolve. For small cars, that point is here. Introducing the Mazda Protege, a small car that's expansive in room, powerful, and born of Kansei engineering, so the way it feels will change the way you feel about small cars. The new Protege from Mazda.
It just feels right.
Henderson's 2 home runs powered the Athletics to victory in Game 4. Now they stand just 1 win away from the pennant. Game 5 of the American League Championship Series today.
Head-to-head competition between coaches as well. Shula calls the offensive plays for Miami. Carson calls the defenses for the Browns in this situation.
And Miami from their own 10-yard line on offense. Here's Jensen showing motion. Reno's pass is complete at the 17-yard line to Stratford. And he goes to the 19. It'll be second down and 1. Mike Johnson and Clay Matthews with the tackle.
Stratford was glad he could stay out on the field in the huddle. He doesn't want them to have to ask him why he took that catch inside the 10. A violation of the rules. He knows it.
That's not the rules of the game, but
well, they're written rules that they live by on special teams.
Yeah.
Quick play.
Mark Clayton out of bounds, stops the clock at the 2:04 mark.
Manfred Dixon has lost a little of that great speed that made him such a dominant corner. Still has great technique playing off in this situation, but has to give a little cushion to the speed of Clayton. Clayton takes advantage of it there.
First down at the 33-yard line. 2:04 time remaining in the ball game. We're tied at 10. Carl Harrison, Big Daddy, that cock stance on defense. And here's Stratford. 37-yard line, gain of 4. It'll be second down and 6. A 2-minute warning. We'll be back in just a moment. We remain tied at 10.
AT&T, the right choice. Steve Largent.
At the end of that last play, Carl Harrison was shaken up for a moment. He's up and he's okay now. But they've been using that cock stance. Now, you were a defensive lineman. Do you like that cock stance?
I played on the center a lot of times in an under and over situation, 4-man line. And the idea of turning sideways to that line, if you will, and getting down and exposing my right leg to that guard who could dive on it would not have appealed to me. I could never figure out why it was so good, but Joe Klecko, who played it for years, swore by it. And of course, Michael Dean Perry and Carl Harrison have done effective jobs and have made some big plays out of it. But you notice they don't cock quite as much as Klecko used to, and they said the same thing. Not putting my leg out there.
Yes. Don't get it out there where they. Yeah. Also, they talk to each other a lot, don't they?
They do. There are a lot of conversations. Sometimes you'll see the two of them lined up head to head,
we saw
and
that
then
earlier.
one will jump out of there at the last second. I don't think I'd want to be the center in there. Come on, guys. One enough. One is enough. Get out of there. Leave me alone.
Do they? And does Big Daddy kind of give the young kid some pointers?
You'll see him talking to him frequently on the field, and of course he's off the field right now. No, he isn't.
No,
he's
he stayed
back out
in.
there.
He stayed in.
Well, it's because it was a natural timeout, and the rain is coming down, Charlie.
And that will cool things off. Second and 6. Pass is complete, far side. That's Troy Stratford. He picks up 6. Dane Gash with the tackle. He's going to pick up about 5. He needed 6. They may even look at a measurement. Miami takes a timeout. It's just about a yard shy, maybe a half yard shy of the first down. Yes, we will have a timeout, and it's tied at 10. 1:44 left in the game.
Now that you know what it feels like to move in the MX-6 sports coupe, come sit in the saddle. The MX-6 from Mazda.
Here's the situation. 1:44 left. Tie ball game. Miami has the ball. Last week, waning moments of the game, Denver had the ball. Then what happened with the Cleveland Browns?
Mike Brown stripped the ball away. Frank Minifield recovered. With seconds left on the clock, Kosar drove it down the field. 47-yard field goal to win that game. Well, Stoyanovich would like his chance, but the Browns right now are thinking strip the football. Marino may decide to go over and work on Minifield's position because Braggs is in there with Minifield on the sideline. But right now it's short yardage.
Over the top. Jamie Smith picks up the first down at the 45-yard line. Now, of course, one of the things that Marino wants to do, he has 2 goals. The obvious is to put points on the score to break the tie. The other is to run that clock down as low as he can get it so that Cleveland does not have an opportunity.
got here?
Timeout. Cleveland, number 1, 40 seconds.
Cleveland calls a timeout. I am surprised. I think Bud Carson is also.
This is a machine designed to make travel easier. And these are its most important parts. The men and women of American Airlines.
Bud Carson talking with one of the officials. Clay Matthews comes over.
Very upset.
Yes.
No, they're just taking a... Matthews had a clip come off of his face mask. They put an extra clip back on it and are popping it back into place. Bud Carson furious. I don't think he wanted that timeout, Charlie.
No. He wanted to save it because they can use it in two forms. One is to control the time of the game a little bit later when it creeps down inside of 30 seconds, and also to use it if they get a turnover.
Well, if they can strip the ball, they obviously want that timeout. Marino thinking one thing here. Enough yardage to get a comfortable shot at a field goal, but if he can take it, he'll go all the way down the field with it.
Needs to get around the 25-yard line. Between the 25 and the 30. That's the goal right now. Intercepts it. Felix Wright.
Absolutely furious. I can't tell whether it's the receiver who's angry or not, but nobody blocking. He's got great pressure. Receiver fell down.
That was Clayton.
Clayton on the ground. Watch the pressure. And again, Marino refusing to take the sack, but the late throw, Clayton going to the ground, and the Cleveland Browns have their turnover.
And Marino was really chewing on the shoulder pads of Mark Clayton. And Cleveland has a chance for the win. Here's Metcalf. Cleveland now in the same situation as Miami. Score, but run time off of the clock.
E.J. Jr., one of the people on that tackle. And, boy, Marino's still hot on the sideline. Charlie, this is the best fourth quarter that this Miami defense has had all year.
And remember here 2 weeks ago, James Hasty of the Jets picked off the interception in the last 3 minutes, set up the touchdown.
Well, they lost on the final play of the game. No time on the clock to Buffalo. So Miami has some fourth quarter pain to think about. They don't want to see it happen here again.
2nd and 9. Kozar's intercepted by Miami. Louis Oliver.
On the sideline, Marino will celebrate. Here he is. He will celebrate as he now knows, hey, I get back in this ball game. You see that helmet go back on his head?
Number 2.
Louis Oliver back in the ball game with a sprained ankle, and he is celebrating that interception on the sideline.
And Cleveland takes a timeout. Miami will have the ball at their own 49-yard line with 22 seconds remaining, and they still have to pick up about 25 yards to have the shot at the field goal.
Carson huddling with Clay Matthews, and you sense the huge shifting back and forth of emotion. Both Bain trusses deciding what they want to do with these final few seconds.
Cleveland with 1 timeout, Miami with 2. Now remember, the Browns squandered a timeout on a kind of a mysterious call. But right now, that's gone away.
That's gone away.
It's gone away. 22 seconds.
It's just, can you get enough yardage to get a shot at the field goal here?
If they get to the 25-yard line, that would be a 42-yard field goal attempt. That's just about what they want. That's the goal.
Charlie, we could flash back to that game against the Jets. Final seconds of the first half. Marino threw a Hail Mary pass from way out, tipped by Andre Brown and picked up by Freddie Banks in the end zone for a touchdown. So they know how to do that play too.
And they tried it again at the end of the ball game and almost pulled it off again.
Almost made it work. But I think right now the thought is get the yardage and let's try a shot at that field goal.
It's complete. Fred Banks, 16 yards.
Timeout.
Miami has one timeout remaining. They will save that one for the field goal attempt.
The two deepest receiver cores in the NFL. Marino going to a receiver that not only is down the depth list a little ways, but has a broken finger on his left hand. Banks didn't let that broken finger bother him on that play.
The rookie from Indiana, Pete Stoyanovich. His longest this year is in this ball game from 43 yards. He missed from 46. If they can pick up 10, they'll take the last time out and go for the field goal. If they don't pick up the 10, then it would be an incomplete pass, and they'll go for the Hail Mary.
Well, and it's very likely, Charlie, that if the Browns defense can pick it up, put some heat on Marino, we'll go to overtime.
Injury report on Jim Kelly, the quarterback of Buffalo. The results of the x-rays of his left shoulder. He has a separated left shoulder.
Three-man rush. They're dropping 8.
28-yard line, and there's the last timeout. It'll be a 45-yard field goal attempt.
Stoyanovich missed earlier
from 46.
But he'll have his chance.
But I think we're right at the ragged edge of his distance.
Charlie, those nets on the sideline for these kickers are a good invention. Before they had them, the kickers went crazy over there. Now they can practice and kick the ball a little bit. Stoyanovich has warmed up his leg. He knows what he has to do.
From 45 yards away. The play, though, should not run the clock out.
It's long enough.
It is going left. It stays left. Back to work. Not again.
Maybe the loneliest time in the world for a kicker. Well, at least they didn't lose it yet. I mean, he's hoping for a comeback here. And another chance.
And Kozar just runs out the clock. We now go to overtime. Here's the situation. We'll have 3 minutes between now and the start of the next period. In a score in any form becomes the end of the ball game. If we go a complete quarter or another 15 minutes and there's no score, then it will be a tie ball game. First we'll have the toss of the coin. And you consider it just as you do a second quarter or a fourth quarter as far as having the 2-minute warning at the end of the period, because it is the final period of a ball game. So this is overtime. Cleveland's record, they've won 9, they've lost 8. Miami has won 4, lost 10, and tied 1. Against each other, the Browns won 30-24 at Cleveland. That was in 1979. Brian Seifer, 39-yard touchdown pass to Reggie Rucker.
Gentlemen, we'll play 1 quarter or until the first team scores. Each team has 2 timeouts. We will have a 2-minute warning if we go that far. Cleveland, who's going to call a toss? Okay, call it in the air, please. Tails is called. Tails it is. Cleveland wins the toss. You'll receive. Okay, Cleveland has won the toss. Will receive.
So the Cleveland Browns will have the first opportunity as we go to overtime, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
He's an FBI agent who views justice in terms of black and white. On Friday, he shows his true colors. Mancuso FBI, premiering Friday.
Well, it's a long game. Actually, not a long game.
Yeah,
a short
quick game. Very quick game. We now have our audio back. We've had some audio difficulties, and while we've had some audio difficulties and we've got those now worked out.
Maybe we changed our batteries.
Yes, if we were changing ours. Yeah.
The officials changing their batteries and the communication sets. They were not able to communicate with the replay booth, and I don't think they can yet.
And by the way, while we have this moment, congratulations to WTVJ, our local NBC affiliate here, who are doing the pickup for us and just doing a tremendous job. That's also the home of the Dan Marino show, and I talked to Dan yesterday. I asked him about his show, and he said, you know, a win would really help the ratings.
A win would help the ratings.
Yes, I thought, spoken like a true TV man.
Now, right now, the Dolphins defense going to come out on the field. They've got the wind at their back, which should help them a little bit. Stoyanovich kicking with the wind here, hoping to keep that ball away from Eric Metcalf, who is very dangerous as a return man. Short kick. Not a good kick.
Metcalf at the 8, 15, 20. Leaps at the 25, comes down at the 28-yard line. 20 yards on the return as we start overtime. Let's check around the league. Indianapolis country in front of Buffalo. Kelly out with that separated shoulder. Giants in front of Philadelphia. New England still in front of Houston, now by 10 in the fourth. Tampa Bay big over Chicago in the fourth. Cincinnati little over Pittsburgh in the fourth. Detroit trailing Minnesota. And Green Bay in front of Dallas, and Dallas will have another 0. And here we are as we start overtime.
Kosar wants to be heard, walking all the way out, giving everyone the play. 5, 4, he better hurry. 3, 2, just barely made it.
That was the countdown on the 42nd clock, right through the hands of Ozzie Newsome. It'll be second down and 10 at the 28. And don't forget baseball. Stay with us. Actually, now that you're here, don't go away, because after this ball game, we will go at 4:30 Eastern time to Game 5 of the American League Championship Series, the A's and the Blue Jays. And then right after that, at 8 o'clock Eastern time, we'll roll to the West Coast, the Cubs and the Giants in Game 4 of the National League Championship Series.
Well, if you enjoy sitting on that couch and watching some good action, we got the spot for you right here on NBC. Are they wondering about the noise level here? Are they warning the defense? Crowd very, very noisy.
And Jorgensen, the signal is a hand in the air. I don't know if that's what he was motioning. That may have been what they were talking about. He says, until I do that, you know, the crowd has not been warned. Second down. This pass is complete, far side to Brennan. Ryan to the 35. It's going to be third down, about 3.
Miami, of course, thinking takeaway. They have 2 interceptions on Kosar. He'd only had 1 on the year coming in.
2-minute offense. He's not going to the huddle. He's calling the audibles at the line of scrimmage. Trying to change the tempo.
First down.
It'll be a first down. Caught at the 40-yard line. Needed 3, got 5.
Brian Brennan, the hero of that last drive against the Broncos, wrapped up aggressively on that play. But he is a tough little receiver. Had hamstring problems earlier in the year.
Now what Kosar and the Browns are saying, I've got mine, you've got to play yours. I'm not going to let you make substitutions. We've got our right people in. And here's Brennan, and they're going to keep the Miami defense from changing. And the ball is at the 47-yard line. And it is second down and 3.
Forcing the defense to go to audibles to make their calls.
Manoa. Tim has the first down and almost breaks it. To the 30-yard line. 22 yards on the play. First down.
Manoa with surprising speed for a big man. They're looking for a gain up inside. Great block on that play by Banker, 68, who just mowed people aside. Took 3 of them to bring him down.
Manoah again, still no huddle. 3 yards to the 28. It is 2nd down and 7. The Browns continue to call the plays at the line of scrimmage. From the shotgun, inside handoff to Manoah.
They're just protecting their position right now, inching down for a chance for Barr to come in and do what he did last week in the final seconds of that Denver win, put it through the uprights. And right now on that Miami sideline, they're saying, no, not again. This has happened to us too many times this year.
Last week, Chris Barr hit twice from 48 yards out, including the winner. End zone, knocked away.
Almost an interception.
Good defensive play by Paul Langford.
And Langford stretched out, had his hands on that football briefly. Man-to-man on this matchup with McNeil, and Langford leaping for all he's worth. Got his hand on it, got a second hand on it, simply could not hang on to the football.
Timeout.
And Miami takes a timeout.
Number 1.
They will have 1 remaining. They're setting up the kick at about the 33-yard line. It will be an attempt of 43 yards.
Charlie, I think you said 48-yard field goals. I believe they were 47 last week, but
what's a yard between friends?
Barr appreciates that. Chris appreciates that. Now, right now, if you're a Dolphin fan or if you're a Dolphin player or a coach, you have very distinct memories of last-second losses. One to the Jets, the final minutes of the ball game, and another with no time on the clock to the Buffalo Bills. In fact, Charlie, if you could end the game in the 3rd quarter, these Dolphins would be 3-1. You got to play.
You got to play the. Does that work? No. That doesn't work.
The coaches always tell you got to play 4 quarters, don't they, Charlie?
Now the center is Tom Ball. Bad ribs, bruised chest and all. The holder, and he is an excellent holder, is Mike Pagan. It'll be 44 yards.
Good snap, good hold. No good. But Carson watched this ball go up, and he thought it went through. Very close to going through the uprights, but like Stoyanovic's kick, just missing to the right. To the left. Let's get that right.
Miami at their own 27-yard line. First down, first opportunity in overtime. Marino slips away. And it is incomplete. And again, miscommunication on the read of the defense with he and his receivers. They both have to read at the same time what the defense is doing and therefore break off the pattern. That's what he's complaining about.
Talking to Clayton again, and you've got to wonder if Clayton's missing training camp hasn't had an impact on his ability to think with Dan Marino. In the past, they have always operated so well, and that unspoken communication does not seem to be working as well at this moment.
2nd and 10. Four-man rush.
Too quick.
They're throwing the Clayton.
Well, and he had to throw it too quickly. And Marino, I think being pressured, didn't take the amount of time he had on that pass. He actually threw it before the receiver, Clayton, is ready for the ball. Let's take a look at this. Clayton gets clear across the inside on Dixon, and that ball is thrown before he turned around. Now,
low and behind him.
Yeah, well, he wasn't ready. Now, I don't know whether that's his fault or the quarterback's fault, but Marino did not say anything to him on that play.
Maybe the defense's fault.
Good coverage by Hanford Dixon, I can tell you that.
And good pressure by that defensive front. 3rd down and 10. 11:46, that is the time remaining in overtime.
He's calling again the signals, and he's trying to say, let's hurry. We got to have it now.
Tries to get a big one. Flag is down. The pass is incomplete, but there's a flag down.
Stephen Braggs, who's gone in to replace Frank Minifield, whacked the arms of Clayton. Or was it? I believe it was Clayton.
Banks.
Number 36, defense, first down.
It was Banks.
Yeah.
Clayton and Banks both working on the far side. But watch 36, far sideline. He reaches out right there and pushes Banks away from that football.
And so with the penalty, the ball goes to the Cleveland 47. "26-yard penalty. First down. Here's Sammy Smith. And there's nothing there. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Almost exactly the same kind of play that Manoah broke moments ago for the Browns. The Dolphins hoping they could catch the Cleveland Browns playing pass defense and break Sammy Smith through for a big gain of their own, but they weren't taking any of it. And this has been a very alert Browns defense today.
Mike Johnson and Tom Gibson on the stop. Last year, Cleveland had 4 basic coverages, and they played them all very, very well. And the defense, Cleveland, takes a timeout, and we'll be going away. We're in overtime. We are tied 10-10, just over 11 minutes left in the 5th period.
For most of us, the only thing that's more fun than staying home to watch the game is going out to watch the game.
Get with it. Come on down. Get with it.
So come on down, catch the game this week with Bud and Bud Light, and enjoy all the action on and off the field.
Have mercy. You got it now.
Performance, for some people, is a way of life. For them, there's Speed Stick Antiperspirant. Nothing glides on drier. Nothing protects you against wetness and odor in a bigger way. Speed Stick, the wide stick.
Nothing's rougher on a man's face than shaving. That's why there's Skin Bracer. It's more than an aftershave. It soothes, cools, tightens pores, so it's good for your skin.
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer Aftershave.
This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen. We're in overtime, just over 11 minutes left to go in overtime. 2nd and 10. Miami with the ball at the Cleveland 47. Marino asks for quiet. He does not get it.
This is his crowd.
That's right. He said, watch my hands.
There's some junk blowing out on the field, too, and I think that's the wind. It's a towel. Towel, and trainers must have left that out there.
Going back to the coverages, Cleveland last year with those 4 basic coverages, they played them very well. Now they have 9 coverages with 3 adjustments each. 27 basic coverages. They'll give you a different look on every down. 2nd and 10, and it's low. Bad throw. And the pressure coming right up the middle.
He hates the pressure up the gut. And that's where they've got great people moving inside. Michael Dean Perry in there, blowing up inside. Look in the middle. Watch what they're able to do. A stun on this side as Perry comes in from the inside. Hairston just pushing from behind. And Marino feeling that heat, threw that ball away early, and Perry is out of there. But those defensive linemen have got to be dying. Pass rushing is about the toughest thing that you can ask a defensive lineman to do. It just robs you of energy.
That little drizzle that we had has stopped, and now the humidity has climbed back up. Third down. You could run for it, but he throws, has the first down to the 27-yard line. It is Banks, 20 yards, right with the tackle.
You see that left hand. Look at the wrapping on that. Broken pinky finger in that hand. I'll tell you, it doesn't bother him at all. A big catch moments ago. You give Dan Marino this kind of time, he'll find the open man, and he'll make the throw.
"27-yard line. Are we setting the scene again for Pete Stoyanovich?"
You think he's nervous on the sideline?
Either that or if he's competitor, he wants one more chance. He missed from 45 with the 3 seconds to go in the game. Here's Stratford. 22-yard line. It'll be second down and 5. Lots of time left. 10 minutes still remaining in overtime. Johnson and Grayson on the stop. And there's young Pete Stoyanovich, 5'10", 180 pounds, taken in the 8th round of the draft.
He really won this job kind of by default. Squad Reves never was able to get healthy. He just kind of hung around here, and they said, yeah, you got it. Well, he needs to show himself a little bit in this overtime period.
It is Clayton in motion, and here's Stratford.
You see 2 arms on that football. Stratford locking that football with both arms. I'm sure they're trying to strip it away, as they did in the final seconds last week against Denver, against Sammy Winder, who's very tough. Watch the 2 hands on the football. He's going to lock it up. Hey, you're not going to get this football.
19-yard line, 3rd down and 2.
They'll try and keep it on that right-hand side. Stoyanovich missed that ball, as you remember, to his left.
Right up the middle.
Well, and it's going to be a kicking situation here. I don't think he's got enough, Charlie. Maybe close enough to Major.
He only needed a couple. Let's see.
I think he's going to be just a fraction short.
Stratford, the ball carrier. They're going to call for the change.
Trying to get inside with Stratford. 75, Pike, Chris Pike, in there to make that play. 6'8" and 290, and I think 290 is cheating. Good play in the middle. And it's short by about 1.5 feet, 2 feet. And Stoyanovich gets his 3rd opportunity. Maybe the 3rd one's a charm.
Actually, his 4th. He is hit from 43, missed from 46, and then missed from 45. He misleft, as Merlin said, with 3 seconds to go in the game.
Well, he gets all he could ask. A chance to come back from that last-second miss.
35 yards for the win, and Cleveland may take a timeout just to let him think about it.
Well, they want to ice him a little bit.
Is that an effective call?
I don't know what else you can do.
Cleveland.
That's right.
That's number 2. Final timeout in the overtime for Cleveland.
No, that's right. You're out of options, so you might as well let him think about it.
Paul Lanham, the special teams coach, on the sideline, I'm sure, reviewing the options of the special teams. That's Lanham with the cap on in the background, right there besides Carson. And they're talking about the potential block of this field goal. And there goes Chris Pike. Yeah, well, I don't blame him for sending him in there. 6'8", long arms. He'll come right up the middle.
And you try and get some speed from the outside.
Pressure up the gut, speed from the outside, make a little noise. You do anything you can here, but this is not a long field goal.
And the snapper is also a rookie, Jeff Ulanay. Scott Secules is the holder. 35 yards for the victory. It's there.
Emotional roller coaster ride. Miami finally has its last second overtime victory. Stoyanovich creeping to the left, but it stayed inside.
And the celebration begins first with the holder and then with the kicker. It's now official.